All right, let's just jump right in. For what feels like forever, enterprise automation has really meant one thing: bots, just following a strict set of rules. But that's all changing. A huge shift is happening right now. We're moving away from those simple task-based robots and toward intelligent, goal-oriented agents. This is the next big leap, and trust me, it's about to completely redefine how businesses run.
So, why do we even need this leap? Well, it all starts with this number. A staggering 88% of all spreadsheets have significant errors in them. Now, if you're in finance, you know that's not just a minor mistake. That's a massive source of risk, of manual rework, of headaches. This is the very problem that the first wave of automation was supposed to fix.
And look, that first wave, robotic process automation, or RPA, it gave us some huge wins. It really did. It got rid of that mind-numbing, repetitive data entry that was just bogging down our finance teams. But for a lot of us, that's where the progress kind of stalled out. We hit what I call the automation wall, that point where the old, brittle model of automation just couldn't scale or adapt anymore. And this slide really gets to the heart of the trade-off. See, RPA is fantastic at what it was designed for: copying and pasting in a perfectly stable, structured world. Think grabbing data from cell A1 in one system and putting it into field B2 in another. But the real world? It's messy. The second you get an invoice in a slightly different format, or heaven forbid a key piece of software gets a UI update, what happens? The bot breaks. It's brittle, and suddenly your maintenance costs start to spiral. This is where the new paradigm completely changes the game. Instead of a fragile bot that needs a perfect, step-by-step script, imagine deploying an intelligent agent that actually understands the end goal. This isn't just a minor upgrade. It's a fundamentally different way of thinking about automation. We call this agentic process automation, or APA. What it means, at its core, is using AI agents that can operate with autonomy. You don't give them a step-by-step instruction manual, you just give them an objective. Process this invoice. They figure out the context, they handle the exceptions, and they navigate these dynamic environments, moving way beyond just executing tasks to actually driving business outcomes. And this table just lays it all out crystal clear. We're moving from being task-oriented to being goal-oriented. We're going from rigid, rules-based execution to dynamic, on-the-fly decision-making. And maybe the most important shift of all, we're breaking free from being stuck with structured data to finally being able to reason over the messy, unstructured stuff that makes up, 80% of all enterprise information. Okay, so theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's get under the hood of an actual hybrid APA solution called InvoiceBot. It's built to solve that classic universal headache of invoice processing, and its architecture is the perfect blueprint for seeing how these agentic principles work in the wild. Now, on the surface, this workflow probably looks pretty familiar. Fetch the invoices, classify them, extract the data, validate it against your ERP, and then output the result. Standard stuff, right? But the magic, the secret sauce, isn't in what it's doing. The magic is in how the agent orchestrates this entire dance. The heart of InvoiceBot, its central nervous system, is an orchestration engine called LangGraph. Now, the crucial thing to understand here is that this is not a simple linear script like in the old RPA days. It's a stateful graph. Think of it more like a smart project manager that can loop back, branch off based on decisions, and retry steps when things go wrong. From an architectural standpoint, LangGraph is what makes this whole thing enterprise-grade. It gives you persistent state management, so the agent actually has a memory. It allows for conditional routing to handle complex if this then that logic. It has built-in checkpoints, which means it's durable and you won't lose work on long-running tasks. And, so critically, it allows for interrupts for human-in-the-loop oversight. That's absolutely essential for validating those tricky edge cases. All right, for any CTO or security lead listening, this next point is frankly non-negotiable. InvoiceBot's entire reasoning layer is powered by a local LLM, in this case Gemma 4, running via Olama. This design guarantees that zero sensitive invoice data, no pricing, no vendor details, no client info, ever leaves the company intranet. You get complete data sovereignty and you secure that data during the reasoning process itself. And the governance stack goes even deeper. We're talking parameterized SQL queries to kill any injection risk. We've got full execution tracing with tools like Arise Phoenix, so you have a complete audit trail to debug every single decision the agent makes. And on top of that, a robust 4-layer defense against prompt injection attacks. This is what security by design really looks like. So we've got the theory, we've got the architecture, but how does this actually stack up in the real world? Let's put the agent head-to-head with the robot.
Let's see how a hybrid APA solution like InvoiceBot really compares to a traditional RPA platform like UiPath. Let's start with human review. A traditional RPA bot flags an exception with a simple confidence score, like 75% sure this is wrong, and leaves your finance team to play detective and figure out why. The agentic approach is a whole different world. InvoiceBot gives you AI-powered reasoning with its recommendation. It explains why a line item looks suspicious. This totally transforms the review process from a painful investigation into a simple, quick validation.
Okay, now let's talk about scale and cost. This is huge. Traditional RPA scales with what's called a step function, and it's expensive. Need more capacity? You have to spin up and pay for a whole new virtual machine license. The agentic solution, built on modern tools, scales linearly and cheaply. You just multi-thread the process. This makes it way more cost-effective to handle those massive invoice surges at the end of the quarter.
And then we get to the biggest hidden cost of RPA, the thing nobody likes to talk about, maintenance. Changing a simple business rule in a compiled RPA workflow is a major operation. You need a certified developer, a complicated IDE, a full regression testing cycle. It is slow, it is expensive, and it absolutely kills your team's agility. Now contrast that whole painful process with this. This quote really says it all. In the agentic world, changing that exact same business rule can be as simple as opening a text file and editing a sentence in plain English. You hit save, and the agent's new logic is live on the very next run. That kind of agility isn't just a small improvement. It is an absolute game changer for how responsive a business can be.
So, with advantages this clear, the big question is, how does a tech leader actually start doing this? What does a real, practical roadmap for adopting this new way of thinking look like inside a big company?
Well, it's not about boiling the ocean. It starts with a pragmatic 5-step path. First, you pick a high-value, contained proof of concept. Invoice processing is perfect. Second, you deploy it with secure, local tools like Alama right from day one. Third, integrate with your existing systems. But here's the really crucial fourth step. You transition your finance teams. Their jobs evolve from tedious data entry to a much more valuable workflow of agent-assisted validation and oversight.
And for leadership, when you're making the case, these are the strategic benefits that really matter. API drives ownership of outcomes, not just task completion. It builds operational resilience because these intelligent agents can actually adapt to change. It dramatically lowers your total cost of ownership by slashing that maintenance overhead we talked about. And it guarantees complete data sovereignty, which, in today's world, is a board-level concern.
And all of this brings us to the final, critical question you should be asking about your own automation strategy. This is really the essential difference between the last generation and the next. Is your automation just blindly executing tasks, or is it intelligently driving the business outcomes you actually care about?